Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon, watching the stars blur past as his ship raced through space. The message had come 3 days ago, and it still made his stomach tight with worry. The Galactic Council wanted to meet with Earth's first deep space crew. They called it a species evaluation. "Captain, we're getting close to the station," said Lieutenant Ben Carter from his position at the navigation controls. His voice was steady, but Jake could see the tension in his shoulders. Everyone on the ship felt it. Dr. Lisa Parker looked up from her research pad. She had been studying alien biology files for weeks, trying to understand what they were about. "To face, the station is huge," she said. 10 times bigger than anything we've ever built. And there are ships from dozens of different worlds docked there. Jake nodded. Through the main screen, he could see Kepler 442b station growing larger. It looked like a giant metal flower with arms reaching out in all directions. Ships of strange shapes and colors moved around it like busy insects. Some were long and thin, like needles. Others were round like balls. A few looked like they were made of crystal or light itself. "I've never seen anything like it," whispered Chief Engineer Ryan Bell. He was a practical man who usually kept his thoughts to himself. But even he seemed amazed by what they were seeing. Commander Alex Stone checked his weapon one more time. As head of security, he didn't trust anyone, especially aliens they had never met before. "Remember, we don't know what these creatures want. Stay alert and follow my lead if things go wrong." The communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect English, but it sounded wrong somehow. The words were too sharp, like they were being cut with a knife. "Human vessel USS Horizon, this is Kepler Station Control. You are cleared for Docking Bay 7. Please follow the guide lights." Jake took a deep breath. "This is it, people. We're about to make history." As they approached the docking bay, Jake could see other ships already there. Most were sleek and beautiful, with smooth curves and bright colors. The Horizon looked rough and ugly next to them, like a hammer among flowers. But it was their hammer, and it had brought them safely across the galaxy. The docking process was smooth. Whatever else these aliens were, they knew how to run a space station. Jake felt the ship connect to the station with a soft bump. The airlock sealed with a hiss. "Atmosphere is good," reported Ryan Bell. "Same as Earth normal. They've adjusted it for us." Jake straightened his uniform and looked at his crew. Dr. Parker carried her research materials. Commander Stone had his hand near his weapon. Lieutenant Carter looked nervous but ready. Ryan Bell seemed curious about the alien technology they were about to see. "Remember," Jake said, "we represent all of humanity today. Whatever happens, we stay calm and professional." The airlock opened and they stepped into the station. The first thing Jake noticed was the size. The corridor was 3 times taller than it needed to be for humans. The walls were covered in patterns that hurt to look at directly. Strange music played softly, but it sounded like metal being bent rather than any tune Jake knew. 3 aliens waited for them. The first was tall and thin, with too many arms and eyes that sparkled like jewels. Its skin looked like it was made of green metal. The second was short and round, covered in what looked like gray fur. It had no visible eyes, but its head turned to follow their movement. The third was the strangest of all. It seemed to be made of plants, with leaves and vines instead of arms and legs. "Welcome, humans," said the tall one. Its voice was the same. Sharp sound they had heard on the radio. "I am Clickstar of the Zephyrian people. This is Grumble of the Herricks and Velanara of the Siltheri." The plant creature Velanara stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind through trees. "We are honored to meet the newest species to reach the stars. The Galactic Council has been waiting for this moment." Dr. Parker stepped forward with a small bow. "We're honored to be here. Earth sends its greetings to the Galactic Council." Clickstar made a sound that might have been laughter. "Earth, such a violent name for a world. Most species name their planets after peace or beauty, but we will discuss this later. Come, the council waits." They walked through corridors filled with wonders. Jake saw aliens of every shape and size. Some floated in the air without wings. Others seemed to be made of living stone. A few looked almost human, but with strange colors or extra limbs. All of them stopped to stare at the human crew. "They seemed surprised to see us," observed Commander. "Stone. Most new species are quite different from you," explained Grumble. Its voice was low and rumbling. "Usually we can tell immediately what category they belong to. But you humans are ... puzzling categories?" asked Dr. Parker. "Of course," said Quickstar. "All life follows the same basic pattern. There are predators, prey, and scavengers. It determines your place in galactic society. Most species are prey, of course. Only a few are predators, and they have special responsibilities." Jake felt a chill. "And scavengers?" "They clean up after the others," said Velanara. "Each type has its role. The system has worked for millions of years." They entered a vast chamber filled with representatives from dozens of worlds. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness. Seats were arranged in circles, with the strangest creatures Jake had ever seen occupying them. Some were the size of elephants, others were no bigger than cats. A few seemed to be made of energy or gas rather than solid matter. At the center of the room sat three beings that were clearly important. They were larger than the others and sat on raised platforms. One looked like a giant insect with wings that shimmered like rainbows. The second was a tree-like creature with golden leaves. The third was a ball of light that hurt to look at directly. "Humans of Earth," said the insect creature. "I am Council Leader Zixandra. Welcome to the Galactic Council. Today we will determine your species classification and your place in our civilization." The tree creature spoke next. Its voice was deep and old. "Do not be concerned. This is simply a formality. Most species are classified within hours. You will find your place among us." The ball of light pulsed brighter. "We have prepared suitable tests. Your psychology, your biology, your social structure, all will be examined. Then you will know your role." Dr. Parker looked at Jake with worry in her eyes. Lieutenant Carter shifted nervously. Commander Stone's hand moved closer to his weapon. Ryan Bell stared at the alien technology with professional interest. "What if we don't fit your categories?" asked Jake. The chamber fell silent. The question seemed to shock the aliens. Finally, Quickstar spoke. "All life fits the categories, Captain Morrison. It is the foundation of natural order. Predators hunt, prey flee, scavengers clean. There are no exceptions." But surely," began Dr. Parker. "No exceptions," interrupted Zixandra. "Your evaluation begins now, Dr. Parker. You will undergo psychological testing. Commander Stone, your team will face physical challenges. Captain Morrison, you will discuss your species' social structure with our experts." As they were led to separate chambers, Jake caught Dr. Parker's eye. She looked worried, and he understood why. These aliens seemed to have made up their minds already. They expected humans to be prey, and they weren't prepared for any other possibility. The chamber doors closed behind them, and the evaluation began. None of them knew that this simple test would change the galaxy forever. Earth had sent its children to the stars, and the stars were about to learn what kind of children Earth created. In the depths of space, the USS Horizon waited silently. Inside the station, humanity was about to discover that some categories were too small to hold them. The testing chamber was cold and white, like a hospital room that had been scrubbed clean of all warmth. Dr. Lisa Parker sat across from a creature that looked like a giant snake with arms. Its name was Velanara, and it claimed to be the species evaluation director. Its scales caught the light when it moved, creating patterns that made Lisa's eyes water. "Please relax, Dr. Parker," Velanara said in its wind-through-trees voice. "We simply want to understand how your mind works. This will help us place you correctly in galactic society." Lisa nodded, but she didn't feel relaxed. Something about this whole process felt wrong. The aliens seemed too confident, like they had already decided what humans were before the tests even began. "I will present you with several scenarios," Velanara continued. "Please respond naturally. There are no right or wrong answers. The first scenario appeared on a screen in front of Lisa. It showed a group of creatures around a pile of food. Some were large and strong, others small and weak. In this situation, how would your species distribute the resources? Lisa studied the image. We would make sure everyone got enough to survive first. Then we would distribute the rest based on need and contribution. Velinara's head tilted in a way that reminded Lisa of a confused dog. But surely the strongest would take what they wanted first? Not usually, Lisa replied. Humans take care of their weak. It makes the whole group stronger. The snake-like alien made notes on a device Lisa couldn't identify. Its confusion was obvious, even across species lines. Meanwhile, in another chamber, Commander Alex Stone faced a different kind of test. The room was larger and filled with obstacles. Holographic enemies appeared and disappeared, forcing him to react quickly. His security team spread out behind him, moving with practiced efficiency. Interesting, muttered Grumble, the fur-covered alien who observed their performance. They work together, but they also adapt individually. This is not typical prey behavior. Sergeant Katie Ross rolled under a barrier and came up firing her practice weapon. The holographic enemy dissolved. Got another one, Commander, she called out. Good work, Ross, Stone replied, never taking his eyes off the next wave of targets. Carter, watch the left flank. Bell, you're with me. Lieutenant Ben Carter moved smoothly to position, his weapon ready. Chief Engineer Ryan Bell followed Stone's lead, even though combat wasn't his specialty. The team moved like parts of a single machine, each member knowing exactly what the others would do. Grumble's confusion grew. In its experience, prey species either panicked or followed one dominant leader. But these humans seemed to switch leadership roles based on the situation. Stone commanded overall, but Ross took point on aggressive moves. Carter handled tactical positioning, and Bell provided support where needed. They're not following normal patterns, Grumble spoke into its recording device. Prey species should show clear submission behaviors. Predator species should show individual dominance. These creatures show both and neither. Back in the psychological testing chamber, Lisa faced her fifth scenario. This one showed a group of creatures being attacked by a larger predator. What would your species do in this situation? Lisa looked at the screen for a long moment. We would fight back. We would work together to drive off the attacker or kill it if necessary. Kill it? Velinara seemed shocked. But you are clearly not a predator species. Your biology, your social cooperation, your peaceful approach to resources, all of this indicates prey classification. We cooperate because it makes us more effective, Lisa explained. But when something threatens our group, we eliminate the threat. We don't run from predators, we hunt them. The word hunt seemed to disturb Velinara greatly. The alien's scales shifted color from green to a muddy brown. Prey species do not hunt. They flee, they hide, they submit. They do not hunt. Then maybe we're not prey, Lisa said quietly. In the combat chamber, the testing had moved to a new level. The holographic enemies were stronger now, and they worked together in packs. Stone's team adapted without missing a beat. They formed smaller groups, used the environment to their advantage, and coordinated attacks that took down multiple enemies at once. This is impossible, Grumble muttered. They should be overwhelmed by now. The test is designed to identify fight or flight responses. Prey species flee at this point. Predator species fight individually. These humans do something else entirely. Katie Ross had cornered a particularly large holographic enemy. Instead of backing away or calling for help, she studied its movements for several seconds. Then she attacked with precise, calculated strikes that brought it down quickly. Ross, how did you know to hit it there? Stone asked. Watched how it moved, Commander. Everything has weak points. You just have to find them, Ben Carter nodded. Same principle applies to their group tactics. They have patterns we can use. Those patterns against them? Ryan Bell, despite being an engineer, had adapted to the combat situation with surprising ease. It's like fixing a broken machine, he said, taking down another enemy. You figure out how it works, then you know how to break it? Grumble's fur was standing on end now. These creatures weren't just fighting, they were analyzing, learning, adapting. They treated combat like a problem to be solved rather than a situation to survive. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison sat in a conference room with several alien officials. They asked him questions about human society, government, and culture. Their questions revealed their assumptions about human nature. "So your leaders are chosen by the strongest members of your species?" asked a crystalline creature whose name Jake couldn't pronounce. "No, they're chosen by popular vote," Jake replied. "We select leaders based on their ability to represent our interests and make good decisions." "But surely the physically dominant individuals have more influence?" pressed another alien, this one looking like a walking tree. "Not necessarily. Intelligence, communication skills, and good judgment are more important than physical strength in most human societies." The aliens exchanged glances that clearly showed confusion. Jake was beginning to understand that their categories were more than just scientific classification. They seemed to be the foundation of how galactic society worked. "Captain Morrison," said the tree-like alien, "your species shows characteristics of both predator and prey. This is highly unusual. Predator species are typically individualistic and dominance-based. Prey species are cooperative but submissive. Your humans seem to be cooperative but aggressive." "Maybe your categories are too simple," Jake suggested. The suggestion caused visible distress among the aliens. The crystalline creature's light flickered rapidly. "The categories are natural law. All life follows these patterns. There must be some explanation for these anomalies." Back in her testing chamber, Lisa faced a final scenario. The screen showed a world with limited resources and multiple species competing for survival. How would humans handle this situation? Lisa thought carefully before answering. "We would first try to find ways to increase the available resources. We would look for new sources, develop better tools, find more efficient methods. If that wasn't possible, we would establish territories and defend them. We would protect our own, but we would also form alliances with species that could be useful partners. And if other species tried to take your resources, we would stop them, permanently if necessary." Velinara's scales had turned almost black now. "Dr. Parker, I must ask directly. Has your species ever hunted other intelligent beings?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Lisa knew this was a crucial moment. "Yes," she said simply. "We call it war. We've been doing it for thousands of years." The alien recoiled as if Lisa had struck it. "War? Between intelligent species? This is not possible. Civilized beings do not hunt each other." "We do," Lisa said. "When we have to." In the combat chamber, the final test began. The holographic enemies were now using advanced tactics, superior numbers, and better weapons. Any normal species would have been quickly defeated, but Stone's team had been learning throughout the entire process. "They're adapting to our tactics," Stone observed. "Time to change the game." What happened next would be talked about in galactic military circles for years to come. The human team didn't just fight the superior force, they hunted it. They used misdirection, ambush tactics, and psychological warfare. They turned the enemy's strengths against them and exploited every weakness. When the test ended, Grumble sat in stunned silence. The humans had not only survived the impossible scenario, they had won. They had taken a situation designed to test survival instincts and turned it into a hunting exercise. As the three test groups reunited, Jake could see the confusion and fear in their alien escorts. Something had gone very wrong with the evaluation, and everyone knew it. "The council will see you now," Clickstar announced, but its voice lacked the confidence it had shown earlier. As they walked back to the main chamber, Lisa whispered to Jake, "They expected us to be prey. They're not prepared for what we actually are." Jake nodded grimly. The real test was just beginning. The great council chamber had changed when the humans returned. What had been a formal meeting room now felt like a courtroom. The alien representatives sat in their circles, but their postures had shifted. Some leaned forward with curiosity. Others pulled back with what looked like fear. The three council leaders on their raised platform seemed less confident than before. Captain Jake Morrison walked to the center of the chamber with his crew beside him. Dr. Lisa Parker carried a data pad with information she had gathered during the tests. Commander Alex Stone kept his hand near his weapon, though he tried to make it look casual. Lieutenant Ben Carter and Chief Engineer Ryan Bell stayed close, their eyes scanning the room for threats. Humans of Earth, Council Leader Zixandra began, her insect-like voice carrying across the vast space. Your evaluation has produced unusual results. We require clarification before we can proceed with classification, the tree-like council member spoke next. In our 10 million years of galactic civilization, we have never encountered responses like yours. You seem to combine traits that should not exist together. Jake stepped forward. What exactly are you asking us to clarify? Everything, said the ball of light that was the third council leader. Its voice was like static electricity. Your species displays cooperative behavior typical of prey, but aggressive responses typical of predators. You work together, but you also speak of hunting other intelligent beings. This is contradictory. Dr. Parker moved to stand beside Jake. Maybe the problem is with your categories, not with us. The chamber fell silent. The suggestion that their fundamental understanding of life might be wrong was clearly shocking to the aliens. Several smaller creatures left their seats and moved toward the exits. The categories are natural law, Zixandra said firmly. All life follows these patterns. Predators dominate through strength. Prey survive through submission. Scavengers clean up after both. These roles have governed galactic society for millions of years. Then let us tell you about Earth, Jake said. Let us explain why your categories don't work for us. The council leaders exchanged glances. After a moment, the tree-like being nodded. Very well, explain your world. Lieutenant Carter stepped forward and activated a holographic display. Images of Earth appeared in the air above them. Green forests, blue oceans, white clouds swirling around a beautiful blue planet. Many of the aliens made sounds of appreciation. Earth looks peaceful, observed Grumble from his position among the evaluators. It's not, Carter said simply. He changed the display to show Earth's geological history. Our planet has been trying to kill everything on it for 4 billion years. The new images showed massive volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, ice ages that covered continents and seas that boiled away entire ecosystems. The aliens watched with growing horror as Carter explained each catastrophe. Every few million years, something happens that wipes out most life on Earth, Carter continued. Volcanoes that block out the sun for years? Asteroids that hit with the force of 1 billion bombs? Ice ages that freeze entire continents. Our planet doesn't just have predators and prey. It has extinction events. Dr. Parker took over the presentation. Most species in the galaxy evolved on stable worlds. Your predators learn to hunt in predictable environments. Your prey learn to hide in safe places. But Earth doesn't have safe places. It has temporary shelters between disasters. The display showed Earth's fossil record. Layers of rock told the story of countless species that had lived and died. Life on Earth doesn't just compete with other life, Parker explained. It competes with the planet itself. Only the most adaptable survive. But surely this created typical predator-prey relationships? Asked Velinara, the snake-like evaluator. No, Parker replied. It created something else. It created survivors. The images changed to show early human ancestors. Small, weak creatures that looked nothing like the humans standing in the chamber. Our ancestors weren't the strongest or the fastest, Parker said. They were the most persistent. They learned to outlast everything else. Commander Stone stepped forward. Our early ancestors didn't just avoid predators, they hunted them. There were giant cats with teeth like swords, we killed them. There were bears the size of trucks, we killed them too. There were wolves that hunted in packs of hundreds, we turned them into pets. The chamber erupted in shocked sounds. The concept of turning predators into companions was clearly beyond the aliens' understanding. You domesticated predators? Zixandra asked in disbelief. We domesticated everything we could, Stone replied. Horses to carry us. Cattle to feed? U.S. dogs to help us hunt. We took wild animals and made them serve our purposes. Ryan Bell activated a new set of images. We didn't just survive on Earth, we conquered it. We changed the entire planet to suit our needs. We cut down forests and planted crops. We diverted rivers and built cities. We took a world that was trying to kill us and made it our tool. The display showed human cities, farms, and technology. Roads cut through mountains. Bridges spanned vast rivers. Ships crossed oceans that had once been impossible barriers. Your species reshaped your entire world? The tree-like council leader asked. We reshaped it many times, Bell replied. When we needed more food, we created agriculture. When we needed to travel, we built machines. When we needed to communicate, we created networks that spanned the globe. Earth didn't make us fit its rules, we made it fit ours. Lieutenant Carter brought up a new image. It showed humans in various environments around Earth. Arctic ice, burning deserts, deep jungles, high mountains. We didn't just adapt to one environment, we adapted to all of them. We live everywhere on Earth now. But this still doesn't explain your social behavior, pressed Grumble. You cooperate like prey species, but you speak of violence like predators. Dr. Parker smiled grimly. That's because we learned to hunt the most dangerous prey of all. We learned to hunt ourselves. The chamber fell dead silent. Even the background humming of the station's system seemed to stop. Humans have been at war with other humans for thousands of years, Parker continued. We developed weapons, tactics, and strategies specifically designed to kill our own kind. We created armies, navies, and air forces. We built weapons that could destroy entire cities. Stone took over the explanation. War taught us things that hunting animals never could. Animals are predictable. They follow instincts. But humans are intelligent. They adapt, they learn, they innovate. Fighting other humans made us better at fighting everything else. The display showed images of human conflicts throughout history. Ancient battles with swords and spears. Medieval sieges with massive walls and catapults. Modern warfare with tanks and aircraft. The progression was clear and terrifying. You wage war on your own species? Zixandra's voice was barely a whisper. We wage war on anything that threatens us, Jake replied. Other humans, dangerous animals, hostile environments, even our own planet when it tries to kill us. We don't run from threats, we eliminate them. The ball of light that was the third council leader pulsed rapidly. This is impossible. Intelligent species do not hunt each other. Civilization requires cooperation. We cooperate when it serves. Our purposes, Jake said. We fight when cooperation fails. We're capable of both, depending on what the situation requires. Carter showed a final image. It was a picture of Earth from space, but with markings that showed human activity. Cities glowed like stars. Ships moved across the oceans. Aircraft traced lines across the sky. The planet looked like it was covered in a web of light. This is what Earth looks like now, Carter said. Every part of it is under human control. We've eliminated or domesticated every major predator. We've turned every useful plant and animal into a resource. We've built a civilization that covers the entire planet. You conquered your world, the tree-like council leader said, and there was something like awe in its voice. We conquered everything, Jake replied. And when we ran out of things to conquer on Earth, we built ships and came to the stars. The implications hung in the air like smoke. The aliens were beginning to understand what they were dealing with. Earth hadn't produced predators or prey. It had produced something far more dangerous. It had produced conquerors. Now you know why your categories don't work for us, Jake said quietly. We're not predators who hunt for food. We're not prey who run from danger. We're survivors who eliminate threats. And we consider anything that can't be controlled to be a potential threat. The chamber was so quiet that Jake could hear his own heartbeat. The aliens stared at the humans with a mixture of fear and fascination. They were beginning to realize that their peaceful galactic civilization had just encountered something it was not prepared to handle. The evaluation was over. The real test was about to begin. The Great Council chamber had become a place of fear. The alien representatives whispered among themselves in dozens of different languages, their voices creating a sound like wind through broken glass. Some had already left their seats and were moving toward the exits. Others sat frozen, staring at the humans with wide eyes that held no kindness. Council leader Zixandra spoke first, her insect voice shaking. "We must call an emergency session. This changes everything." "Changes what?" Captain Jake Morrison asked, though he could guess the answer from the fear he saw around him. The tree-like council members' golden leaves had turned dark brown. "Our entire civilization is built on the balance between predators, prey, and scavengers. If a species exists that doesn't fit these categories, then our whole system could collapse." Dr. Lisa Parker stepped forward. "You're afraid of us?" Course we are afraid," said the ball of light that was the third council leader. Its glow had become harsh and white. "You have just told us that your species eliminates threats. How do we know you won't decide that we are threats?" The question hung in the air like poison gas. Jake looked around the chamber and saw the truth written on every alien face. They weren't just confused by humanity's nature. They were terrified of it. "We came here in peace," Commander Alex Stone said, but his hand rested on his weapon. "We want to join your civilization, not destroy it." "But what happens when we disagree with you?" asked Velanara, the snake-like evaluator. Her scales had turned completely black. "What happens when our interests conflict with yours? Will you eliminate? Just like you eliminated your own planet's predators?" Lieutenant Ben Carter activated his communication device. "Captain, I'm picking up increased activity from the station's defense systems. They're powering up weapons." Chief Engineer Ryan Bell checked his own readings. "They're also blocking our communications with the horizon. We can't contact our ship." Jake felt his stomach tighten. The situation was spinning out of control faster than he had expected. "Are you holding us prisoner?" "We are taking precautions," Zixandra replied. "Until we understand what you are, we cannot allow you to leave and report back to your kind." "Stones." Hand moved closer to his weapon. "That sounds like a threat." "It is a necessity," the tree-like council leader said. "Your species could destroy everything we have built. The peaceful balance of galactic civilization has existed for 10 million years. We cannot let it be destroyed by creatures who think conquest is natural." Parker pulled out her datapad and began scanning the aliens around them. "Captain, I'm detecting increased stress hormones from most of the species here. Their fear responses are off the charts." "Good reason for that?" Bell muttered. "They just learned that Earth produces things that hunt predators for sport." The chamber's communication system activated with a harsh buzzing sound. A new voice spoke, deeper and more threatening than anything they had heard before. "Attention, Galactic Council. This is War Commander Thokvar of the Krillian Empire. We demand immediate transfer of the human specimens for proper evaluation." Jake had never heard of the Krillians, but the reaction in the chamber told him everything he needed to know. The aliens who had seemed frightening moments before now looked small and weak. Several species representatives moved quickly toward the exits. "The Krillians are coming," whispered Grumble, his fur standing straight up. "This is bad, this is very bad." "Who are the Krillians?" Stone asked. Zixandra's voice was barely audible. "They are the closest thing to apex predators that galactic civilization has produced. They are warriors who live for conquest and battle. If they think humans might be superior predators, they will see you as a threat to their dominance." A new display activated in the chamber, showing the space around the station. 3 massive ships had appeared, each one larger than anything the humans had seen before. They were black and angular, covered in weapons that looked like they could crack planets in half. "Those are Krillian dreadnoughts," Carter said, studying the display. "They're armed for total warfare." The communication system buzzed again. Galactic Council, you have 10 minutes to transfer the humans to our custody. If you refuse, we will take them by force. They want us, Jake realized. They want to study us to see if we're a threat to their position. Parker was still scanning her instruments. Captain, I'm detecting something else. There are evacuation ships leaving the station, dozens of them. Through the chamber's massive windows, they could see the truth of her words. Ships of all sizes were departing the station in every direction. The peaceful gathering of galactic civilization was breaking apart in panic. They're all running, Stone observed. They're afraid of us and they're afraid of the Krillians. This is what happens when the balance is disturbed, the Tree-like Council leader said sadly. For millions of years, predator species have been carefully controlled. They are given limited territory and specific roles. But now there might be something that cannot be controlled. Something that could upset everything. Bell checked his instruments again. Captain, the Krillian ships are powering weapons. They're preparing to board the station. We have to get back to our ship, Jake decided. Whatever's about to happen, we need to be ready for it. The docking bays are sealed, Zixandra said. We cannot allow you to leave until this is resolved. Stone drew his weapon in one smooth motion, then unsealed them. The aliens around them recoiled as if he had set off an explosion. The sight of a human with a weapon ready for use triggered every prey instinct in the chamber. You see, Velanara said, her voice high with fear. This is what they are. The moment they face resistance, they turn to violence. We turn to solutions, Stone corrected. Violence is just one tool we use. Carter was monitoring the stations. Systems through his portable equipment. Captain, I can get us to the docking bay. The Krillians are jamming communications, but I can use the same interference to mask our movement. Good, Jake ordered Dot as they began moving toward the chamber's exits. Grumble called out to them. Wait, you should know something about the Krillians. They have never lost a battle, never. They have conquered 17 different star systems and enslaved hundreds of species. If you fight them, you will lose. Jake paused at the chamber entrance. Have they ever fought humans before? No, but then they've never fought anything like us. Jake said simply. The humans left the chamber at a quick pace, ignoring the calls of the alien council behind them. As they moved through the station's corridors, they passed scenes of panic. Aliens were gathering belongings, sealing doors, and preparing for what they clearly expected to be a disaster. They really think we're going to destroy everything, Parker observed. Maybe we are, Bell replied grimly. Maybe just by existing we've broken something that can't be fixed. The Krillians sure seem to think so, Carter added. Otherwise they wouldn't be coming in force. They reached a transport tube that would take them toward the docking bays. As they traveled through the station, Stone kept watch for threats while Bell monitored the Krillian ships. They're not just here to capture us, Bell reported. They're positioning for a full assault on the station. They're going to take this whole place. Why? Jake asked. Because we're here, Parker realized. Because we represent something they can't allow to exist. If there's a species that might be superior to them, they have to eliminate it before word spreads. The transport tube stopped at the docking level. Through the windows, they could see their ship, the USS Horizon, still connected to the station. But they could also see Krillian assault craft approaching the other docking bays. We've got maybe 5 minutes before they board, Stone estimated. Then we better move fast, Jake said Dot as they ran toward their ship. Jake realized that everything had changed. They had come to make peaceful contact with galactic civilization. Instead, they had started what might become a war. The question now was whether humanity was ready for the consequences of being what Earth had made them, behind them. The station's emergency alarms began to sound. The Krillians were coming, and they were coming for blood. The USS Horizon's engines roared to life as Captain Jake Morrison and his crew reached their ship. Behind them, the station's docking bay doors were sealing shut, trapping dozens of other vessels inside. The Krillians wanted to make sure nothing escaped to warn the galaxy about what was happening. All systems online, Captain, Chief Engineer Ryan Bell reported from his station. but we're not going anywhere fast. They've got us surrounded. Through the main screen, Jake could see the 3 massive Krillian dreadnoughts positioned around the station like hungry sharks. Each ship was easily 10 times the size of the Horizon, bristling with weapons that could turn his vessel into scrap metal in seconds. "Captain," Lieutenant Ben Carter called from navigation, "I'm detecting Krillian boarding parties entering the station. They're moving fast and they're heavily armed." Dr. Lisa Parker studied her sensor readings with growing concern. The aliens on the station aren't even trying to fight back. They're just hiding and hoping the Krillians will ignore them. Commander Alex Stone checked his weapons one more time. "That's the difference between predators and prey. Prey hope predators will go away. We make predators go away." The communication system crackled to life. A harsh, angry voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, this is War Commander Thokvar of the Krillian Empire. You will surrender immediately. And prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your destruction." Jake looked at his crew. Each face showed the same determination he felt. They hadn't come this far to surrender to alien bullies. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Channel open." "Captain, War Commander Thokvar, this is Captain Morrison of the USS Horizon. We decline your offer. If you want us, come and take us." The silence that followed was brief but heavy. Then Thokvar's laughter echoed through the speakers. It was not a pleasant sound. "Foolish creatures! You think your tiny ship can challenge the might of the Krillian Empire? We have conquered 17 star systems. We have never known defeat." "There's a first time for everything," Jake replied calmly. "Indeed there is. You will be the first species to be completely eliminated for the crime of existing. Prepare to die." The channel closed. Almost immediately, the Krillian ships began moving into attack positions. "They're not taking any chances," Carter observed. "All 3 dreadnoughts are targeting us?" "Good," Stone said with a grim smile. "That means they're scared." "Scared or not, we're massively outgunned," Bell pointed out. "We need an advantage." Jake studied the tactical display. The station was surrounded by an asteroid field, the remnants of an ancient planet that had been destroyed millions of years ago. Some of the asteroids were massive, the size of small moons. Others were just chunks of rock and metal floating in space. "There's our advantage," Jake said, pointing to the asteroids. "We're going into the field." "Captain," Carter protested, "those asteroids are moving fast and unpredictably. It's incredibly dangerous." "Dangerous for us, deadly for them," Jake replied. "Their ships are huge. They can't maneuver in tight spaces, but we can." Bell was already working at his station. "I can boost our engines and give us more maneuverability, but it'll put a lot of stress on the ship." "Do it," Jake ordered. "Stone, prepare all weapons. We're going hunting." The Horizon detached from the station and immediately accelerated toward the asteroid field. Behind them, the Krillian dreadnoughts followed like massive predators chasing small prey. "They're firing," Carter announced. Energy beams larger than the Horizon itself lanced through space where the human ship had been moments before. The power was incredible, enough to vaporize a small moon, but the beams hit empty space. "Too slow," Stone commented as he tracked their pursuers. "They're used to fighting ships that run in straight lines." The Horizon dove into the asteroid field, weaving between massive chunks of rock with precision that would have been impossible for larger vessels. The Krillian ships followed, but they had to slow down to avoid collisions. "First lesson in hunting," Jake announced over the ship's communication system. "Know your environment, use it against your enemy." One of the Krillian ships tried to fire into the asteroid field, but hit a massive rock instead. The explosion sent debris flying in all directions, forcing the other ships to take evasive action. "They're damaging themselves," Parker observed with amazement. "Predators that rely on size and strength aren't used to fighting in confined spaces," Stone explained. "But humans learn to hunt in forests, caves, and canyons. We know how to use obstacles." Bell had been monitoring the Krillian ship's movements. "Captain, I've found something interesting. Their ships are so big they have blind spots, areas where their own weapons can't target effectively. Show me, Jake ordered. Bell put the tactical analysis on the main screen. The Krillian dreadnoughts were covered in weapons, but their massive size created zones where they couldn't fire without hitting themselves. There, Bell pointed to a spot near the rear of the lead ship. If we can get in close, they can't hit us without risking damage to their own vessel. That's suicide, Carter protested. We'd have to fly directly at them. Sometimes the best place to hide is right next to your enemy, Jake said. Especially if your enemy doesn't expect you to attack. The horizon suddenly changed course, accelerating directly toward the largest Krillian ship. The alien crew was clearly unprepared for such an aggressive move from what they considered inferior prey. They're not firing, Stone observed. They can't believe we're actually attacking them. Second lesson in hunting, Jake announced. Never let your prey know they're being hunted until it's too late. The human ship slipped into the blind spot Bell had identified. Suddenly, the massive Krillian dreadnought couldn't target them without hitting its own hull. Now, Jake ordered, Stone fired every weapon the horizon possessed directly into the Krillian ship's engine section. The damage was minimal compared to the size of the massive vessel, but it was precisely targeted. The Krillian ship's engines began to malfunction. Direct hit on their power core, Stone reported. They're losing propulsion. The damaged Krillian ship began to drift, its engines flickering and failing. The other two ships moved to assist, but that gave Jake the opening he needed. Third lesson, Jake announced. When hunting in packs, take out the leader first. The Horizon used the cover of the drifting ship to reach another asteroid. This one was particularly large and unstable, held together more by luck than gravity. Bell, can you destabilize that asteroid? Jake asked. With our mining charges? Absolutely. Captain, do it. Right when the Krillian ships get close. The plan was simple and dangerous. The Horizon would use their mining explosives to break apart the massive asteroid just as the Krillian ships passed by. The debris would act like a giant shotgun blast. They're closing in, Carter reported. Both ships are heading straight for us. Wait for it, Jake said calmly. The Krillian ships approached with weapons charging. They had learned caution from the first attack, but they still thought in terms of overwhelming firepower rather than clever tactics. Now, Jake ordered. Bell triggered the mining charges. The massive asteroid exploded in a chain reaction that sent building-sized chunks of rock flying in all directions. The Krillian ships, traveling at high speed, flew directly into the debris field. The impacts were devastating. One ship's shields collapsed entirely, leaving its hull exposed to the battering of rock and metal. The other ship spun out of control, its navigation systems damaged by the unexpected assault. Impossible, came Thokvar's voice over the communication. System, this cannot be happening. We are the apex predators of the galaxy. No, Jake replied calmly. You were the apex predators, but you never met anything from Earth before? The battle continued for another hour, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The humans used every trick they knew, ambush tactics, environmental advantages, and the kind of persistent hunting that had made them masters of Earth. The Krillians, for all their strength and firepower, were not prepared for enemies who thought like hunters rather than warriors. When it was over, 2 Krillian dreadnoughts were drifting helplessly, their crews requesting rescue. The third had withdrawn to a safe distance, no longer eager to engage the small human ship. This is War Commander Thokvar, came the final transmission. We withdraw our claim on the humans. They are ... not what we expected. As the Krillian ships limped away, Jake opened a channel to the station. Galactic Council, this is Captain Morrison. We're ready to discuss our classification now. The response came quickly, Zixandra's voice filled with a mixture of awe and terror. What classification? Would you prefer? Jake looked at his crew, all of them battered but victorious. They had proven what Earth created when it forged life in the crucible of constant danger and change. We don't fit your categories, Jake said simply. So make a new one. Call us what we are, survivors, hunters, the children of a world that taught U.S. to never give up and never back down. And if we refuse? Jake's voice was quiet but carried the weight of 4 billion years of evolution behind it. Then you'll learn why Earth breeds hunters, not prey. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not as predators or prey, but as something entirely new. Something that could adapt, survive, and hunt anything. That threatened those under their protection. Earth's children had come to the stars.